Good morning, and thank you for watching The Dietitian on a Mission. My name is Janet Calderwood. I'm a registered dietitian. We have a real treat for you today. We're going to talk about something that's really important for all age groups, and we've got a very special guest with us today. Mr. Caden Vargo is here. He's going to help explain to all of us, adults and children, the importance of nutrition and some of the practical aspects that his beloved mother has taught him. A registered dietitian, Jennifer Vargo, she is here with us, and it's always delightful to see you, Jennifer.
Thanks for having us.
And I'm very pleased to meet you.
Same to you.
I understand that, you know, growing in a household with a mother that's a dietitian, she's taught you well, hasn't she?
Yeah.
She's taught you well, and now you're teaching other people, right? Tell me what you told your mom about the banana. What did you find out about the banana?
The banana tree is actually an herb.
Okay. And why is that?
The bark on the tree, the bark on a normal tree is rough and hard.
Okay.
The bark on a banana herb is smooth and soft.
Okay.
It places, because of that, it places it in the herb family.
Okay. So I didn't even know that as a registered dietitian. That was news to Jennifer, and now you have a new interesting fact. It's always good when you learn something new, so thank you for sharing that with us. Now, we're going to talk about a program that was designed to help fight obesity epidemic in children. You know, if you're paying attention to what's going on in the world, you can see that more and more the obesity epidemic is hitting all generations, and of course our young people, our pediatric patients, the childhood obesity epidemic is certainly on the rise. But this program, as Jennifer pointed out, can be something that can everybody can benefit from hearing this knowledge that we're going to hear from Caden today. So Jennifer, tell us a little bit about what this program is and a little bit about how you found out about it.
Sure. So this program, I like it because it's easy to remember. That's so helpful. So what we're talking about today is as you said, a way to address pediatric obesity, but it's appropriate for all generations. And it's a matter of remembering a certain couple of numbers, and these numbers correlate with different things that we can do as far as our lifestyle. The numbers are 5, 2, 1, 0, and then we added on another 1 plus 8.
Okay.
So,
and that's what we're going to talk about. And so we're seeing this teaching tool in many different community settings, in schools, I think, in WIC programs, and really anywhere where health of children is important. So I'm going to direct some of these questions to you now, okay? Caden, tell me, when your mom said the numbers, she said 5, 2, 1, 0. Those are descending order, so that makes it a little easy to remember. What does that 5, that number 5, what does that represent?
5 is 5 servings of fruits and vegetables each day.
Okay. Now, tell me, if you're talking to a group of adults and children that are watching today, how can people get 5 servings of fruits and vegetables in one day?
Honestly, just think of it like like you just got back from Halloween, and all the vegetables that you have are candy.
Okay. So nature's candy is what you're thinking.
Yeah.
So you're thinking about, do you think it would be important that since you eat 3 times a day, you eat breakfast in the morning, you eat lunch, and then you eat dinner? That's 3 meals a day, right?
Yeah.
And sometimes, I don't know about you, but occasionally I might have a snack in between there, right? So if you're eating 5 times a day, right? Like 3 meals and maybe 2 snacks, what could you do?
You could basically spread it out to one serving for each meal or snack you have.
Okay, good. And so, what are some of the ideas that you have? Like, if somebody was trying to look for a way to get a fruit or vegetable in their breakfast meal, what could they do?
Well, in your omelets, you could put in assorted fruits and you could put in assorted vegetables like
Okay.
peppers and onions.
Okay, that's a good idea.
On pancakes, you could put on blueberries and strawberries and blackberries.
Okay, that's a good idea. And sometimes people eat cereal, right? They'll eat
Yeah.
hot cereal or cold cereal. They could do something with the banana herb.
Yeah, they could do.
Okay, all right, good. And you have a banana herb in your backyard, right?
Yes.
Yes, you do. Okay. So those are some ideas for breakfast. What ideas do you have for maybe lunch or dinner?
Well, you can make a sandwich with lettuce and tomato.
Okay. That's a good idea. And right there, I mean, that's 2, isn't it?
Yeah.
So if each meal you're including something like a fruit or a vegetable, then you know what? It shouldn't be that difficult, should it?
Yeah.
Okay. And what about dinner? What are some of your suggestions for vegetables and fruit with your dinner meal?
Maybe you could have a salad with maybe some pickles and a little bit of dressing.
Okay. Well, what about cucumbers? Do you know that pickles are really cucumbers that are pickled?
Yes, actually.
But do you like tomatoes or carrots?
Yes.
Yeah, you could add those, right? Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
And then sometimes when people are eating their regular dinner, you know, we always, as dietitians, recommend that people put half of something on their plate. What would that be?
Fruits and vegetables.
Exactly. So what do you remember what you had for dinner last night? So long ago, right? Yeah, that's a tough one. But what's your favorite vegetable?
Corn.
Corn. And that's nature's candy, as you refer to it?
It's nature's candy corn.
Nature's candy corn. But why do you think that nature's candy is because, like, fruit, for example, is sweet and it's satisfying?
Yes.
Uh-huh. And when you're eating vegetables and fruit, what would be a good rule of thumb? Would you want to eat the same thing every day, or how could you do it so that you're getting a variety?
What I would say is eat the rainbow.
Eat the rainbow. That's a great tip. So what do you mean by that?
I mean by eat different colored fruit. Eat different colored fruits and vegetables each day,
That's
so
a
that
great
you could
suggestion.
basically spice it up a bit.
Spice it up a bit. And you know what's really important about what you just said is that the different colors in the rainbow, right? We have blue, well, you know, we say eat the rainbow, but all the different colors that the fruits and vegetables represent actually have their own set of phytonutrients. They're different from the other color. In fact, the reds are different from the greens, which are different from the orange ones, and they all fight different diseases, and that's why fruits and vegetables provide so many key nutrients, vitamins, and minerals. And as a young lad like yourself, you know, I mean, come on. If you're not getting everything you need, do you think that could affect your growth?
Yes.
Okay. So, eat the rainbow, right?
Yeah.
Okay. So we know that the 5 means 5 fruits and vegetables a day. That's something we all can do, folks. We can all focus on including a serving of fruit and vegetable as a part of every meal. So that's a really good tip, and it can be things that you enjoy. I mean, trying different things certainly is a good idea, right?
Yeah.
Because especially if you don't like something, do you find that after you try it repeatedly that it sort of starts to, you start liking it?
Yeah. A bit.
Uh-huh. And is there any vegetable you don't like?
None that I really know of, honestly.
Okay, well that's good. That means that your mom has probably done a really good job of introducing a lot of vegetables to you at an early age. And you know, for the pickier eaters that have a difficult time, the children that may not be so accepting of all these different things, it does take about 8 or 9 times,
It does.
right, Jennifer?
Yeah, that's
to-
important. Sometimes we do have to offer a vegetable more than once in different ways. Sometimes, even as adults, I hate mushrooms. That was me. But it was because the only time I ever had mushrooms was when they were canned.
Okay.
And so now having fresh mushrooms and the wide variety and the different ways that you can prepare them,
It's changed everything.
yeah, absolutely. So we just have to be
So-
open to it.
So you had to be open to trying mushrooms
Yes.
more than once?
Yes.
Okay, good. All right, so that's a good point. Now, we did the 5, and the 5, 2, 1, 0 plus 8. What does the 2 represent? That's the next number.
2 represents 2 or less hours of screen time.
Okay, explain that, please.
Screen time is basically, time watching the TV.
Like they're doing right now?
Yeah.
Okay. So screen time, so that's TV and what else?
Playing on gaming systems, handheld devices.
Cell
Computers?
phones.
Okay. All right. And now, sometimes you get involved in these games, right? It's hard to keep track of the time. What do you recommend to people to make sure that they're staying on track with that? That's what, 120 minutes a day, right?
Yeah.
Okay, because that's 2 hours. So what can people do to limit that?
People can put a timer on their phone because most people have them.
Okay, that's a good idea. And plus, if you're watching a show that's an hour long, hey, that show is 60 minutes. I got 1 hour left, right? Right. Okay. But time does fly when you're having fun, so you got to be paying attention, right?
Yeah.
Otherwise, it'll slip away. Okay. So we know that sedentary activity, and that's what we're talking about here, the screen time and things like this, that people that are more sedentary have greater problems and complications related to their overall health. Right. Correct, Jennifer?
Right, exactly. I mean, that's this whole concept. It's just to increase awareness about ourselves and about our habits. And sometimes when we are engaging in activities like screen time, like you said, it's so easy to lose ourselves in it that we're not moving. But the body was meant to move. We need to get up and move. So I think these suggestions are really fantastic that Caden's bringing up, that you could set a timer. It's going to increase our awareness of how active or inactive at times we are.
And so part of this program is, of course, reducing sedentary activity, but that brings us to number 1.
Yes.
And what does number 1 represent?
1 is 1 hour of exercise each day.
Okay. Now, does that have to be like going to the gym, or what kind of activities do you recommend?
I would recommend just playing out in the yard would be fine.
So things that you enjoy doing.
Yeah.
Because if you enjoy doing it, you're probably going to do it, right?
Yeah.
Okay. So what are some things that you like to do to get that 1 hour of activity? You said playing in the yard, but you shared some other secrets with me before the show that you like to do. And can you share them with the viewers?
Sometimes I play soccer.
Okay.
Our family has a pool at home, and we would go swimming in it and play around in it.
So that's getting a lot of activity.
Yeah.
And then, do you ever take the dog for a walk?
No, she's a bit old.
She's a bit old? Okay.
Yeah.
She can't move around very much? That happens, doesn't it? Yeah, okay. Well, anyway, but it sounds like you have plenty of things to keep you busy.
Yes.
Right? So, so the 1 hour of activity, and that's a recommendation. Like, believe me, if you want to spend more time in the pool, nobody's going to say, wait, you were in there 1 hour, right? Unless your homework's not done. Right? Okay. And then what does zero stand for?
Zero stands for zero sugary drinks.
Okay, now tell me, what do you drink?
I normally drink water and milk.
Okay, water and milk are your two drinks. But when you talk about sugary drinks, what's included in that?
Soda, slushies,
Okay,
Mountain Dew
especially?
yeah.
Yeah, that's a big sugary drink, huh? I mean, when you think about Mountain Dew, right, you're talking about a 12-ounce can of Mountain Dew. And I think, I looked at the total grams of sugar in that. It's like 46 grams. And that's almost like, what, Jennifer, over 10 teaspoons of sugar in one beverage.
How can you justify it?
And when you think about what the recommendations are,
Right.
by the American Heart Association, because we recognize that these sugary drinks, as Caden was talking about, aren't providing a whole lot of nutritional value, right? There's a lot of calories, there's a lot of sugar, but there's not like the same vitamins and minerals that you're getting from eating the fruits and vegetables that you're eating every day. So we recognize that we don't want people eating that. That's why that's a zero tolerance, right, for sugary beverages. You know, the American Heart Association says for people to limit their total intake of sugar to no more than 6 teaspoons per day, and for men it's 9, for women it's 6. And you know, if you're just having like that one Mountain Dew that you were talking about, you're already past the limit.
Right.
Right? So, I mean, there are definitely a lot of benefits to drinking beverages like water. Water is always the best hydrator, and it doesn't provide any sugar, right? You can eat more nature's candy.
That's right.
Yeah.
Okay, so we know that the zero stands for zero tolerance for sugary drinks. And you know, when you think about children, right, as we age and we grow up, you know, maybe not so much when you're growing up, you don't notice it, but as you get older, these extra calories add up, and it can actually cause people to gain more and more weight, right? And so just cutting back on something as simple as a sugary beverage a day, which has about 150 calories, in a year's time, somebody could easily lose 10 pounds in a year. So it can be a great, one small change like that can make a big, big difference, right, Jennifer?
Very true.
And you don't even you won't even notice it, right? Not even notice it. Okay, and then we have and then we have the +8.
Right.
What does +8 stand for?
+8 stands for 8 or more hours of sleep.
Okay. 8 or more. Do you get more than 8 hours of sleep a night?
Sometimes.
Well, what do you do? Do you have to go to bed at a certain time and get up at a certain time, or?
Yeah, on school days.
Uh-huh.
We get up. I go to sleep at 8:30, and wake up at 6.
Oh, okay. So you get 8 plus.
Right.
Why do you think sleep is so important?
It's when the body can sort of sort through everything that's gone through the day, help your body grow, and sometimes just do an overall clean of the body.
Okay, like resting the body?
Yeah.
Yeah, I mean, everybody, you know, your body's working 24 hours a day for you. It's nice when it can sort of, you know, be on relax mode for a while, right? To re-energize and charge and fuel you up for the next day. Because when you get up at 6 o'clock, you got to be ready to go, right? Okay. And so these are all really important parts for anyone, because when you think about sleep, I think Jennifer and I would agree that we recognize that there are a lot of interesting facts when it comes to disease risk and lack of sleep.
Yes, very true. I have the opportunity to work with individuals that maybe their weight is a challenge and something that they want to address. And it's not uncommon that sometimes sleep is a challenge that they're having, that they're not getting the 8 hours of sleep for various reasons. Sometimes it may just be a matter of, like, here Caden points out that he has a bedtime. We think about that as something that we would do for children, that's important for them, but it's important for us too as adults. We are such creatures of habit that creating that habit, the body prepares for it, anticipates for it, and therefore it can help us to have better sleep the more that we do have a system in place.
Mm-hmm. I think that when you think about overall intake during the day and everything, and if somebody is not sleeping well at night, then that means they're going to be quite fatigued during the day, right? Especially you. If you're not getting your sleep at night, what's going to happen when you're sitting in your English class?
I'm gonna probably yawn a lot.
Yeah, you're going to yawn a lot, and hopefully you're not going to fall asleep, but you're going to be very tired, right?
Yeah.
And then, so the time when you need to be awake, you can't be because you weren't able to sleep when you should be, right? And so, and then it affects our choices too. I think that when people are really tired, maybe we could resist that donut first thing in the morning when we're ready to, we're ready to start our day and we have the energy. But if it's later in the day when we're tired and run down, we kind of let down our guard and we just want to make easy choices, right, Jennifer?
It's true. There is absolutely an effect on our hormones that affect our appetite as well as our ability to be satisfied with the foods that we're eating if we're not sleeping well. So if you're not getting the recommended 8+ hours of sleep, these temptations can become even more tempting. And even when we do choose to, I'm going to eat this plate of food, it's the proper portions, this should be satisfying, it's not satisfying. And all of it can be tied to sleep. So sleep plays a very important role, and I think sometimes it's an unsung hero sometimes.
Yeah, and then the other thing about remembering is, especially if you're having difficulty sleeping, that there's certainly some what we call sleep etiquette that people can do that would help them with that. For example, just as you established with your son having a set sleep time, the 8:30 hour. Well, if they're going to bed at 8:30, wouldn't that be a great time for the parent to go to bed at 8:32? Or, but making sure that you're doing that. Caffeine can be a factor, right?
Right. I was just visiting with somebody most recently that was one of the changes that they made. They used to drink coffee going into the afternoon, and they stopped it, and sure enough, it had a positive effect as far as their sleep goes.
And then something that affects probably more adults than children is, if you're drinking beverages late in the day, right, you're probably going to have to get up and go to the bathroom 3 or 4 times a night. Well, that can be very disruptive for somebody that's trying to get 8 hours of sleep and every couple of hours has to empty their bladder. So, being mindful of that, and maybe if that's a problem for you, then earlier in the day holding back on your fluids. So those are definitely good things. But I think that when you think about your overall health, right, and this program that you're here to share with us today, Caden, the 5, the 2, the 1, the O plus the 8, that why do you think all these things are so important?
They keep you healthy and they help you feel great.
They do. They help you feel great. And why is that so important for you as a young person?
Well, honestly, we have a whole life ahead of us. So why end it right now?
Why end it right now, right? I mean, but the choices that you make today, do you think that they impact you tomorrow and future years ahead?
Probably.
Probably will, won't they? Because when we think about some of the risk factors that are responsible for chronic diseases like diabetes or heart-related illnesses, for example, a lot of it has to do with just what you were describing to me, the sedentary activity, maybe making unhealthy choices and having too many sugary drinks and not eating enough fruits and vegetables and then not getting adequate amount of sleep. If you had $100,000 horse. I want you to think of this. If you had a $100,000 race horse, would you keep that horse up all night and feed him junk food and no, why?
Because the racehorse would start to be out of shape.
It would affect its performance, wouldn't it?
Yes.
And so I would say that everybody watching, and certainly you and your mom and myself, that we're probably a lot more valuable than a $100,000 racehorse. And so that we should recognize that the decisions that we make with our body are going to impact us not only today, but in the future. And, you know, especially we know that people are living longer, right? That we see more and more people that are over the age of 100 in different areas of the world. And some of the things that you want to have as you age is you want to have a quality of life, right? I mean, you want to be able to see. Think of some of the long-term complications that we see with patients with diabetes. What are some of those, Jennifer?
Just what comes to mind is thinking the disabling part of it, loss of limbs, being wheelchair bound, the change as far as quality of life, and again, if we just follow these simple practices, this 5-2-1-0 plus 8, it's such a simple thing to remember and a simple intervention that could prevent that from happening.
Yeah, I mean, I think about the long-term complications of diabetes, as you added, with even blindness.
Yes.
And then kidney failure. And, you know, sometimes people, when they have kidney failure, they have to go to a kidney treatment center, and that affects their quality of life. They're there 3 times a week, and it's 4 hours a day, so that really can impact how much fun they can have. They're not going to be able to do probably as much swimming and playing soccer that you're doing now, but I think that you're smart in doing what you are doing and setting an example to other people. Do you have any other last-minute thoughts that you'd like to say?
No.
Not really?
No.
Just keep doing it?
Yeah.
Keep doing it and take it every day, right? Just when you wake up in the morning, focus on the 5, the 2, the 1, the 0, plus 8, and try to achieve all of those every day. And remembering, especially with fruits and vegetables, try to get one of those with every meal and snack that you consume, and that way that you're really meeting that need, right? The 5, okay? Thank you for being here today. I want to thank you for tuning in, and we certainly hope to see you next week right here on CTN 10.